For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. I got this letter yesterday from a viewer, and it said, "Hi, Steve. I, like you, try to take a common sense approach to all things and pray about everything. I asked God a while back if the virus was as bad as people said. He said to me in my heart and spirit, no, and confirmed it the same morning. I asked him about the masks, if I should wear them. He gave me a no. I said to all at home and work that I will not wear one. We needed to go to Sam's Club to get some much-needed bulk supplies and have been very reluctant to go since Hamilton County mandated masks everywhere and flashed it in the highway signs as we drive. I called Sam's and got a recording bolstering the requirements for masks to enter. As we arrived, my wife and I, she was fairly nervous, for everyone had a mask on. I looked up on my phone and found exceptions for the health and religion at Walmart and others. I talked to her about our integrity and prepared myself as best I could. We walked in with no masks, and throughout our entire time there, no one said a word to us. She saw some eyes roll, but no one made eye contact with me. I stayed close to her and was prepared to handle things if a situation arose. It felt good to make a stand and a statement that we were not going for the herd mentality. Sad to say, we were the only ones in the entire store willing to stand. I wondered how many of them were angry because we did what they wanted to do, but they feared their peers. The first thing my stepson said to me when I got home was, "Did you wear the mask?" Can you imagine what he would have said if I told him I did, after declaring I would not? If our kids are to be strong and take their own stand for their beliefs, shouldn't they first see that strength in us, their parents? Absolutely they should. I salute you, my brother. I salute you for walking in the spirit that God has given all those who trust in him. I also went to Home Depot 2 days ago, and I went there today too. I didn't wear a mask. I haven't worn a mask anywhere in any store, no matter what they try and mandate. It's not because I'm flaunting anything. It's not because I'm rebelling against a mandate. It's because I know that this coronavirus fear-mongering is a lie, and God has not given us a spirit of fear. America needs to wake up and say no to all of this. I realize that the vast majority of people will go along with anything. Now Fauci came out with wearing goggles as a new way of convincing you that you can protect yourself from the invisible enemy. I'm going to say something to you if you are a Christian. If you're not a Christian, just ignore this. But if you're a Christian, ask yourself this: how much will I go along with to get along? I've heard people say, I'm just wearing a mask out of respect for others. No, you're wearing a mask because you think it's necessary, either because you don't want the peer pressure of not wearing one, or you believe that this coronavirus is everything Fauci said it is, and you believe the WHO, which has already been proven to lie to us time and time again. If you want to stay dumbed down and continue to believe the lies coming from this government, the WHO, the NIH, the CDC, then go ahead. But if you haven't bought into this the way most people have, and you claim to be a believer, how far will you go along with others just to get along? That's what you need to ask yourself. How long will you comply? And how long will you submit to this complete tyranny and fraud? Because if you don't have your own mind anymore and can't think clearly, then you'll easily be deceived, and you'll go along with the next mandate and the next one and the next one until you finally take the vaccination because you said you were just obeying the law. Just how far are we down the path of destruction of this country and everything we've always known to value? Alex Jones said it better than I could on yesterday's broadcast. And for those of you that have believed all these lies about Alex and the conspiracy theories, that he's just a conspiracy theorist, no, he's a conspiracy fact teller. And now even mainstream media admits that he was right.
A time ago, you noticed I said they're planning a Maoist youth brigade civil war, backed up by real technicians that'll actually assassinate people. But with the power plants getting blown up and highways shut down and the rest of it, you'll hear, oh, this talk show host got killed, or this senator's house got blown up, his wife and kids are dead. And they'll say, oh, Patriot Militia did it. I mean, it's going to go to a level you've never before seen. They're going to say that patriots have killed black leaders. to, again, enrage everything while the globalists are killing the police and burning everything down. That's why they feared InfoWars so much, because I understand the globalists. I understand how they operate. I've seen what they've done in other countries. We know how to stop them. But if you're naive about this, and if people don't get very, very serious about this, we're going to lose everything. And they are going to shut this country down and bring in a decade-long depression until the globalists own every piece of land, every house, everything. And a lot of people are going to give them the money, give them the property. A lot of men are going to line up and bow down as collaborators. They're going to say everything will be peaceful. Just come in and swear your allegiance to the new sunrise movement, you know, the new golden path. And as soon as the people capitulate in the small towns and the medium-sized cities, and as soon as the farmers capitulate, it's over. We're done. We'll be just like the Russians 1917. It'll take them a year or two to consolidate power. You're going to have to go to war, folks. And we've really tried to not get to this point. I don't want any offensive attacks. But you understand that when if they're able to collapse the country, kill the president, and kill the resistance leadership, you are absolutely empowered by the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and God and common sense to understand what you're up against. I know you're not going to submit to these people. But remember, wiping out their low-level minions is not the main target. It is essential that if they start this physical war and they're killing us, it's essential that you go after their leadership. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that means a lot of you that are businessmen, a lot of you that are former military and very serious people, you might be 70 years old. You're going to have to get on that airplane, and you're going to have to go find these people on your mission, and you are totally expendable. Gut up and stop being a coward and get out there and get the job done. Now, we've gone so far down this rat hole now that we're facing a communist uprising, the total destruction of the country, that I'm now having to get on air and just start going in the doomsday switches here, ladies and gentlemen. But everybody already knows what to do. We've tried, we've worked hard, and we are not flat-footed. There's a really good chance we're going to wipe all these people out politically, but they're going to burn things and shoot people and start murdering because they're followers. It's the globalists in Europe. It's the powerful Chi-Coms. It's the old rich families that feel insulated from this, that believe they can have a civil war to finally bring down America, and then China takes over the world politically and culturally. But I just want to tell the Pentagon and the CIA and all you lawyers and people that have been sitting on the sidelines while this happened and allowing this to get to this point, you're your own worst enemies. That you'd let a horrible, dirty, New World Order, technocracy, communist system take over this country, and you would allow the things that have been done to this nation and the destruction of our morals and the collapse of our civilization. You are idiots. You have taken everything we built and flushed it down the toilet because you were followers and you were cowards. And by successive approximation, you gave in to these people and you bowed to them, and then they saw the police all bow to the George Soros, communist, Antifa, and BLM, and they've seen you on your knees. And so now they know they're going to collapse the borders with the third world. They are going to absolutely destroy everything. And so you remember, all you middle class and wealthy people, when you've got nothing and you're disarmed and that you're wishing later you'd done something, you can do something at that point. No more excuses. Nobody stood up for the 62 million babies, did they? Nobody stood up when they had tens of millions brain damage from the vaccines. I mean, people did stand up, but most of us didn't. And so now the wolves have come because we're known as chumps. We're known as stupid. You think the globalists just sent people with pneumonia and flu into nursing homes by accident? They wanted high death numbers. They wanted to see if they could get away with it, and they did. You passed that test too, America. And you let them give you fake COVID numbers and tell you 2.5 million would be dead. And everybody keeps submitting. So they look at all those sheep out there and they say, good, we're going to make our move. But here's where the globalists made the big mistake. Here's where the New World Order made the big mistake. It's never a majority that defeats tyrants. It's always a tiny minority of people. And I'm here to tell you, 3% started and won the war against the British, who were angels compared to these New World Order people. And we've got close to 10%. And we've got women who understand that when men cease to be men, women have to pick up that role. And I predict it's going to be women that are going to be stacking dead bodies of these New World Order people up as high as you can stack them. So I hope we don't have to go down this path, but I'm having to now get up here and tell you, I think you already all know it anyways, don't you, where we are. Where there's still rule of law to some extent, they want to wipe that out to become it. And they want to intimidate through the UN Strong Cities Initiative that was set up by Obama and Loretta Lynch to have the police then, under a political overthrow of Trump, bow to them and submit to their list of demands. Then they will comb out, they've already said this, and purge any loyal Americans off the force, and will quickly then replace them with the worst types of political operatives you can imagine. And they will be coming to your home, and they'll have the cover of contact tracing run by the Clinton Foundation and other things. Obama's plan for a domestic military just as big, just as strong as the U.S. military. And you've seen the brutish, hateful, horrible behavior of these people all over the country. They're now in Austin, driving around in cars, blocking traffic, pointing guns at families, jumping on old ladies' cars. And the police sit there and are ordered to stand down. Well, you shouldn't be standing down. If you got fired for that, the people would stand up for you. But we do have a criminal mayor who they now are going to install for an illegal third term because it's the same move everywhere. And Soros has put his mayors and his prosecutors in almost every city. The Chicago Tribune did a big story on it. They're calling for the famous investigative journalist to be fired because he said Soros is financing lawlessness. It's true. He said, screw you, fire me if you want. John Koss defies Chicago Tribune cancel culture. I will not apologize for writing about Soros. Who do they prosecute? Shop owners that shoot back. In New York, in St. Louis, in Chicago, in San Francisco. They're arresting people that shoot back. They're arresting people that defend their doorstep from a mob of people saying, we're going to kill you because you're white. So all I'm telling you is they are planning, it's already here, a hot communist takeover. And all of you would laugh, oh, those little dumb commies and Antifa, the cops will deal with them. Really? When their commanders are the ones running it? When the mayors are the ones running it? You think that mayor in Portland got upset when he came out and praised them and said they were nonviolent and then they started attacking him? You think he got upset? No, he liked that. That shows his minions are so evil and so stupid that they saw an old white man and the government and they attacked it because they want to be that government. Their attack dogs are so mindless. They've been fed so much spiritual gunpowder that they're biting their own handlers. They like seeing their armies of scum swell out of control and be totally mindless. They'll be set up and they'll be flushed down the toilet later. They are emboldening them. The communists did this. They encouraged the mobs in China to go after their own communist officials, like Xi Jinping's father, who came out and praised them. But that wasn't enough. This is a formulae to take all the low IQ people and embroil them and hype them up into a crazed mode. And then to have them burn down homeless camps and blame us. Have them attack our vehicle with hammers. And then the news said we staged it. Because the Antifa is pure. The Antifa is good. George Soros doesn't fund them, the New York Times says, and then he comes out in an op-ed bragging how he does. You go, that's an attack on logic. They don't respect you. They lie to you on purpose and then change the story. Don't wear a mask. Do wear a mask. 2.5 million are going to be dead. Is it true? Oh, we can't hear from other doctors. They're not allowed to have a press conference. Fauci comes and says, we got the video. I agree. They should be taken off the air. Those 15 medical doctors, some of them with prestigious resumes, they're not allowed to talk about treatments that are working 100%. Because we're giving you a problem that never ends. We got you under martial law in your house. We got everybody wearing these masks. And we're exercising our lies over you, period. It's about the exercise of power. It's a cult. It's a cult of psychiatrists and psychologists and a bunch of pedophiles and occultists who are into power and who don't respect you because they know you're watching TV and they've dumbed you down. And now they're testing to see what they can get away with. And the president of the United States has come out and made the perfect move. Hey, if you keep sending in illegal mail-in ballots with the names of dead cats and dead dogs and dead people on it, and illegal aliens are getting it, and Republicans are getting their mail-in ballots that say they're Democrat, it's all the same. From Kentucky to California to Michigan, people are getting mail-in ballot and it says they're a Democrat on it. Or their cat's getting one. Their dead cat. Because it's names. They're scooping up every name and every address, and they're mailing it out so people send them in so they can pick and choose what they want so they can stuff the ballot box, and it's what they're doing. And so they've been surveilling Trump, and that's why suddenly 2 weeks ago, he's not going to leave, he's not going to leave, he's going to challenge the election, he's a dictator, we overthrow him. Because they're going to challenge the election one way or the other. And so Trump's doing the right thing, saying, you're not going to do that. Till we have time to have judges overturn this, you're not going to have what violates federal law and have these fake ballots. That's the move. And then they're going to launch their revolution they were going to launch regardless. And they plan to put us into martial law, which they already have with the COVID. And so Trump says, okay, I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll give you what you want. And he's trying to get them to move early. It's a very good move. And that's why I told you it's all about him not leaving office. It's all about the election. It's all about suspension of it and them saying he's going to do it. He's going to do it because he has to. He has to make them come out and say we're going to do mail-in ballots that aren't absentee, that are fraudulent. He's got to force that out in the open to show the fraud beforehand, not try to fight the fraud the day of the election. He's got to defeat the fraud now or they're going to steal it. Like Pelosi said, he's gone. We don't care, period. They've got their plan. And then when he's gone, they're not going to stop the contact tracing. It's all been officially set up. Governor of Texas paid billions to Google to run it. The Clinton Foundation is training the people right now at the Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL. The ADL's coming to your house, folks. Southern Poverty Law Center's coming to your house. And by the way, they're going to have units of backed up armed police with them. Oh, and Gates just announced that they're going to use the schools to quarantine your kids. They're going to test your kids at the schools and then quarantine them there when you go back. I mean, this is all being announced, all being confirmed. So that's coming up. I mean, this is organized criminal takeover, mechanized. Trump never got control of the propaganda arms, the Operation Mockingbird systems that are in place. And it just, I mean, I'm not even afraid. I don't even have concern because America's been pretty evil. We deserve what's about to happen. But I still personally, and I know you personally want to survive for your family. I'm just telling you, folks, girt yourself for war. This is it. Everything's coming down now. This is it. Okay? An actual communist, globalist uprising run by George Soros, a Nazi collaborator. This country's dying of spiritual, cultural cancer. And there's still a lot of good people. But folks just are naive. And they're also kind of punch drunk to putting up with corruption. And the New World Order is sampling and studying people with psychological systems to see how much we'll put up with and how much their people will do. How much will we submit to and how evil and corrupt will their minions be? And we've been passing the test submitting and not getting involved. Not you, the audience of great activists, but the general public. We've really passed in flying colors going along with all this. And the left has passed in flying colors to basically have adopted Satanism as their operating system. I mean, you go to a Democrat event, I don't care if it's rich old lady event or a regular one on the streets. I mean, these are weird, mentally ill, sick people that have really gotten into degeneracy and corruption because their leaders are so bad. And so you see it as weak that Joe Biden has to be held by the hand now when he walks around outside, obviously doesn't have good balance, is drugged out of his mind. And the whole Me Too movement claiming, that all men are rapists and it just to destroy the relationship of men and women. All of this is an attack on the species, like aliens run it, basically. not saying they do. I'm just saying it might as well be. And so you see the weakness of their minions and the weakness of their candidates. That's their strength. That something so pathetic and so ridiculous and so out of its mind and so fraudulent could be what's defeating us. Do you realize how much sweeter that is to them? No, this is satanically inspired. This whole thing's got Satan written all over it. That's who signed the painting. And things are about to get hellish. I mean, the global depression's here. Millions are starving to death. The very UN running the operation then gets more contributions off the millions they're killing. And you see people wearing the mask, and now Fauci says wear goggles. It's always more, and gloves that do nothing, and people fetishize it and get in your face if you're not doing it. You know, you see these signs, no mask, no service. No vaccines, no service. No medical ID, no service. And now your medical records are all public and you have no rights. Boom, it's a medical tyranny. It was always going to come at us from that angle.
Now, if you're not a Christian and you'd like to be, there's a link in the description box below where I help lead you in a simple prayer to ask Jesus Christ to be the Lord of your life. You can face everything that's coming in panic and in fear, or you can face everything knowing that your eternal destiny is settled and that once you die, which is the most that can happen to you, you will be with Christ, the Son of the living God for eternity, who died for you and rose from the dead that you might too. Think about it.